How is preaching an act of pastoral care?
When we preach about things in people's lives, suffering, violence, the things people experience in their lives that diminish the potential for their own flourishing, what they hear in the pulpit, and also what they're singing in the hymns and what they're hearing in the liturgy, goes into their kind of theological inner library and has a lot to do with how they experience their own lives in those situations of pain or crisis or even joy or celebration.
Yeah.
So for students to be really attentive to that kind of pastoral care dimension of preaching, even if they're not specifically doing pastoral care, the piece that I really want to help students do is to see not only how pastoral care can operate in the pulpit, but how more prophetic, peace and justice oriented dimensions of our ministry also intersect pastoral care. So one of the big concerns I have is for students not to divorce those things, to see care and the way that we provide care as an individual provision of care, but also an institutional provision of care, how we think about institutions shaping our lives and shaping our relationships, and also how the sociocultural political dimension of our lives directly impacts our well-being. The way that we talk prophetically in a justice-oriented fashion about law and public policy and practices affects the lives of individuals. I don't think the picture is filled out enough if we don't also think about how those socio-political concerns are shaping the lives of people.
I remember the early days as we would talk about these matters in my own church. Sometimes lay people would say, our pastor seems soft on this, or our pastor seems wishy-washy on this, on issues of gender inclusion and all, using different words then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I say, from what I've observed, pastors have the opportunity to sit with a specific beloved human being in the congregation who's being impacted by society's, the cultural, within this congregation's prejudices against them and all, exclusionary acts. That changes us. In fact, I've just noticed over the years when we get to these gender inclusion issues, I talk to pastors, and pastors will say, I've changed on this subject. And I'll say, I'd like to change people on this subject. Mm-hmm. How did you change? Mm-hmm. And invariably, they will mention about somebody in their congregation who is struggling there. And so maybe we pastors ought to acknowledge how much our pastoral care acts feed back into our proclamation of the gospel.
Yeah.